Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. We got a video today from AllAsianDilemmas.
Japanese men don't want to get married, don't want to date, and still insist that the blame falls entirely on Japanese women.
I mean, Japan has been going through this for a lot longer period of time than we have. I think we are adopting their strategy. Hold the line.
What on earth is happening? In 2022, the Japanese magazine Shinchosha published an alarming article claiming that the Japanese population may simply disappear within half a century.
Half a century. So 50 years, their genes and their country is going to be gone. 50 years is not that long in the grand scheme of a country, considering Japan has been a country for eons. I'm not saying eons, but it's been a long time.
Just the year before, in 2021, the number of newborns fell below 800,000, a new historical low, and this trend doesn't seem to be stopping. Every decade,
it's happening everywhere.
Japan loses around 150,000 births. The Yamato ethnicity is on the verge of extinction. It's almost like Area 11 from Code Geass becoming reality.
Damn. Code Geass was a damn good anime too.
When we look at Japan today, we can also see the shadow of the West's future. Even though each country has its own reality, it's still something worth watching closely.
And that's why we're watching.
Extremely popular anime Spy X Family emerged exactly in this context, almost as an attempt to save the situation.
Is that what it is? I actually do enjoy Spy Family very much, and I didn't realize this is the attempt to try to get men and women back together.
And the truth is that, if you dig deeper, you'll be surprised. Hello, this is All Asian Dilemmas, and we're back with another video on Japan's likely social decline. The success of Spy X Family wasn't enough to reignite the Japanese desire to build a family. This anime was literally created with the mission of encouraging young people to...
I did not know that. I can see it the way the anime is now that I kind of just look back at the anime itself. I can see it. It really kind of played on that role of having a wonderful daughter that, just made your life better in a sense, or it just changed your life.
Have children. I'm not making this up. The main financiers of Spy X Family, the production committee, are TV Tokyo and Toho. At first glance, they seem like just a TV network and a distributor. But if you look at the shareholders behind them, you'll see mostly companies in the finance and real estate sectors, industries that depend directly on population growth. In April, nearly the entire Shibuya district was covered with ads for this anime. I had never seen such a massive promotional campaign for a cartoon. But anyway, I'm getting off track. The conspiracy theories...
No, I thought the push for Spy Family was actually, to me, was kind of big. I'm a big anime guy. I watch anime every season. Every 3 months, there's new anime that comes out, and then and the anime goes away for a season or whatever it is. And Spy Family, I felt, was kind of getting crammed down our throats a little bit. I just thought that was me. I didn't realize, oh yeah, no, it really was a thing that the campaigners really try to push a family, which I don't hate, tell you the truth. I don't hate
about Spy X Family are for another video. Let's continue. Why did the Japanese simply stop having children? As I said before, logically speaking, in 50 years there may be no one left from the Yamato ethnicity. You might think, what happened to the Japanese? Did they awaken? Become ascetics? But the truth is, they didn't just stop wanting children. Japanese men don't even want to date anymore. Let's look at a street interview conducted this year that revealed shocking numbers.
This portion of the video today is sponsored by Breath Death. When you're out there kicking butt in life, you don't want your breath to be kicking like Bruce Lee. Lots of people worry about how they present themselves, but they forget about their breaths. That's why I'm excited that today's video sponsor is Breath Death, the brand behind Crystal Breath. Exploding mint crystals that kill bad breath on impact that take your confidence to the next level. These aren't your average mint or gum. No fake ingredients, no perfume masking, no endless chewing. Crystal Breath dissolves in seconds and actually destroys bad breath at the source. Powered by zinc, these mints attack sulfur deposits in your mouth that causes stink, so you're not covering it up, you're actually just killing it. And keeps you clinically fresh for up to 4 hours. You guys know me, I don't take very many sponsors, and if I do take a sponsor, I have to enjoy their product. So I actually really love breath death. And I use it for other things other than just your breath because the crystals are just so powerful in mints. I just use it to keep me up while I'm driving sometimes too. So I'll just pop open a tab, and it comes with 4 of these, and you just take a little quick sip, and you hear the popping immediately, and you feel the mouth just like feeling getting cleaner. It's like candy, but mints at the same time. It's really interesting. Because Breath Death is the sponsor of today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal. When you click the link down below or scan the QR code on the screen to subscribe to the 8-2 pack, you'll get their regular 15% off, plus free shipping, plus an additional 10% off for just watching this video. It's an exclusive deal you won't get anywhere else, so click that link to start your mission to kill bad breath.
Those who don't want to date are, overwhelmingly, men. 7 out of 10 Japanese men in their 20s don't have a girlfriend. 4 out of 10.
That's about the same number as us, 66%-ish or so. 7 out of 10, about 66%.
Have never even been on a date. This has put the Japanese government in a state of panic. When young people were asked why, many said dating is too much trouble, that they don't need it, and marriage isn't even something they consider. This view has already become a consensus among men, to the point where, in schools, boys who date are actually mocked by their classmates.
Damn.
Faced with this strange shift.
Imagine having a girlfriend, your boy, all your guy friends are just making fun of you for having a girlfriend. Society has changed.
A man in his 40s, with that slightly mischievous uncle vibe, was completely confused. He said that in his time, not only did they want a relationship, but one relationship wasn't even enough. Let's hear what he had to say.
What?
で男性陣に対してちょっと頼りないなと思っちゃいますよね。でその度胸がないのか、的に余裕がなくなってしまったのが一つの要因かもしれないですね。
When it comes to these issues, not wanting to have children is completely understandable. But not wanting to date either, what exactly is going on? I've researched a huge amount of material and talked to many single men around me, and I found that the answers are almost always the same. The main reasons are
This juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Economic pressure and exhausting work. But I don't think things are that simple. Eventually, I came across some different explanations from a mangaka who is also a controversial YouTuber. Yamada analyzed the situation from a male perspective and ended up gaining support from many young men. He claims that boys born after the 2000s don't want to date, and that the responsibility falls entirely on women. It's not provocation, it's just an analysis from the male point of view. According to him, everything began when the economic bubble burst in the early 1990s and the Japanese economy declined. Japanese men, who once could support an entire family alone, lost competitiveness. Wives had to start working and earning money, and with their own
Very similar thing with feminism and over here where men's wages started stagnating because women came into the workforce.
income, they naturally gained more influence at home. If something bothered them, they could confront their husbands at any time. This growing female strength suppressed men, and this emotional pressure quietly influenced the next generation of boys. It's definitely a strong-tasting explanation. Moving to Japanese school life, Yamada says that the blame for boys not wanting to date also lies with girls. Even in middle and high school, according to him, girls broke boys psychologically.
Yeah,
Japanese
I'm
schools
sure.
have a kind of status pyramid, a hierarchy of contempt. At the top is the first army, the tops, students from good families, attractive, and high-performing, future elites. Below them is the second army, middle-class students who might have average grades but are either very good-looking or academically strong enough to qualify. At the
Okay.
bottom is the third army, boys from poor families, with bad grades, and considered unattractive. They are the most vulnerable to bullying. Within this cruel hierarchy, the weakest boys are mentally crushed. And something strange happens. The proportion of girls in the top groups increases, while the proportion of boys in the third army grows as well. As a result, boys from the bottom tier are constantly humiliated by girls from higher tiers. Japanese high school girls
Yeah, that seems way worse than it is here in the United States when there are actually tiered systems like this and they're quite aware of it.
according to him, have extremely sharp tongues, especially when insulting male classmates. I can be provocative, but you can't bother me, is the logic.
Yep.
If a third army boy even looks at a girl the wrong way, he's in trouble. Insults, humiliation, nicknames, and even online shaming. For emotionally immature boys, this is devastating. After a few experiences like that,
I don't even think emotionally immature boys. I just think boys in general. I mean, you get enough of this, everybody's gonna break. It doesn't have to be boys.
their self-esteem is destroyed. How would they dare to date after that? So, according to Yamada, this issue also stems from the growing strength of women. The third factor, he says, is that Japanese laws protecting women
Of
are
course.
excessively strict. Of course, protecting women is a good thing.
Of course.
It's social progress. But at the same time, it severely suppresses male impulses. The punishments for harassment or even simply approaching a woman are extremely harsh, and when something happens, the woman always holds the legal advantage.
Correct.
Anyone who has dated knows. Someone has to make the first move, and that someone is usually the man. But with such strict laws, if a man gathers courage and goes a little too far, he could ruin his entire life.
Correct.
The girl in front of him can literally become the goddess of fate who controls his destiny. I won't.
Damn. The way he's putting it is so true. Like yeah, you can actually put the faith of your future into these women's hands by the way you approach them or just approaching the wrong one. I didn't even ever think of it that way, but damn, that's kind of a harsh reality.
I won't comment on whether this is right or wrong, but one thing is true. Japan is extremely strict in laws protecting women. I know this because I have a college friend. Let's call him Taro. He graduated with me and began working at a real estate company as a salesperson. He was very charismatic, not very tall, but handsome.
Okay.
Taro loved going to bars after work, drinking, and talking to women, and he always had good interactions. Until one day he had terrible luck. He saw a young woman in a bad mood, drinking alone in the corner. He thought she was just shy and tried to approach her, but she became furious, screamed sexual harassment, and called the police on the spot. Taro was arrested on the scene and spent 2 nights in detention. To settle the case without ending up with a criminal record, he had to pay 200,000 yen in settlement money and another.
So they can just do this to extort men. This is a whole new level of extortion game right here.
500,000 yen in attorney fees.
He paid 500,000 attorney fees and still had to pay her 200,000. Oh my jeez.
Otherwise, he would have stayed longer, and if his company found out, he would be finished. After that, Taro changed completely.
I'm sure he
stopped
did.
approaching women, he became terrified even of going to client meetings with female colleagues, afraid they might get upset and land him in jail again. Therefore, it's not that men don't want to date, they're afraid of acting on their instincts and prefer to suppress everything inside. And for all these reasons, according to Yamada, Japanese men no longer want to date.
And they're not wrong. They said this is pretty much what's happening in the West too, or translates to the West. It's exactly what's happening right now. Yes, women can use sexual harassment probably to sue people just for monetary gain.
And all of this, he says, is tied to the increasing strength of women in society. These 3 points resonated deeply with many Japanese men, though critics also emerged, accusing him of talking nonsense and having distorted values. And what do you think about all this? Would you be able to accept a life without dating?
I'm a Chinese man who wouldn't marry a Japanese woman even after death. Hello everyone, I just got off work, and without realizing it, I've already been living here for 18 years. In theory, after so long, I should have already found myself a Japanese wife. It's been more than a decade, after all. But why don't I look for one? Based on my looks, I'd easily be a good match for them. Only people who have lived here for many years will understand. Japanese people, whether men or women, never truly connect with me. For example, at work, a Japanese colleague will never open up to you, even if you once lent them money when they needed it.
Well, I think it's the xenophobia that Japan has. They're very Japanese.
At most, they'll say, please help me. But the moment you're no longer working together, they'll never contact you again. That's how they are, the so-called Yamato ethnicity, regardless of gender. Japanese women are the same. They're extremely stingy. The husband earns 200,000 yen a month, and she gives him only 1,000 yen as pocket money. You can see how Japanese men work themselves to death outside, while the women spend entire afternoons complaining about their husbands, even though they act so gentle on the surface.
Yeah.
They're truly hard to figure out.
At least they act gentle on the surface. Well, women in the West don't even act gentle on the surface. They're just out. Well, I think which is actually better. You know what? I'm wrong. I think it's better that they don't act soft on the surface, because then we know exactly who to avoid.
If I brought a Japanese wife home and she insisted on splitting the bill with my mother during lunch, my mother would die of anger. That's why I say, different cultures shouldn't be forced to mingle. And marrying a Japanese woman, in my case, would have only one benefit: getting a green card here. But even that isn't appealing to me. You know why? Because after 12 years of hard work, I got mine on my own. No matter how many years I live here, I will always carry the pride of being Chinese.
In the end, when we look at everything happening in Japan, the total retreat from relationships, the emotional paralysis of men, the growing fear among women, the hyper-competitiveness in schools, the loneliness disguised by technology, and the increasingly strict laws dictating how someone is even allowed to approach another person, it's hard not to feel a sense of déjà vu. Because before we point fingers at the exotic and distant East, maybe we should take an honest look at what's happening in the West.
Yep.
Is this really just a Japanese problem, or are we simply watching the trailer for our own future? After all, think about it. Declining birth rates are not an Asian-exclusive phenomenon.
Nope.
Europe, the US, Canada, Australia, everyone is on the same path. And it doesn't matter if the country is rich or poor, conservative or progressive, traditional or liberal, young people simply don't want to build families anymore. Some don't even want to risk dating. And when you ask why, guess what? A weak economy, insane cost of living, status competition, emotional insecurity, silent resentment between men and women, legal fear, social fear, fear of becoming a meme, fear of being cancelled, fear of everything. Sounds familiar? In Japan, people say women became too strong and men shrank. In the West, people say men became too weak and women got tired of carrying everything alone. But in the end, the arguments differ and the result is exactly the same.
It is.
Two sides drifting farther apart, growing more distrustful, more...
And on the overwhelming thing of fault, I would say it's on men, because we love women so much. We gave women all the power and all the rights, tell you the truth, and we also kind of went with it.
Exhausted, more isolated. As if entire societies were going through a kind of collective divorce where nobody signs any papers, but everyone lives in separate rooms. And when we look closely at Japanese schools, with that cruel social pyramid defining who is desirable and who isn't, who gets to love and who must hide, it doesn't look very different from the Western reality either. Social reproduction is alive and well. Popularity became emotional capital. Appearance became currency. Those born at the top stay at the top. Those born at the bottom, well, they stay at the bottom. The names change, but the structure doesn't. In Japan, it's First Army, Second Army, Third Army. In the West, it's normies, gigachads, and the invisible.
Damn, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Normies, gigachads, and yeah, there's also incels too now.
Same logic, different vocabulary.
Yeah.
Are we all heading toward a world where relationships become a luxury item?
I think, yeah, we're heading to that dystopia that humanity is dying. And we're kind of just looking at it and kind of not doing anything about it.
Reserved only for those with money, status, emotional stability, and a blessed genetic combination. Are we witnessing the beginning of an era where love relies more on algorithms than on courage? And if that's the case, what happens to the people who don't fit into any of these privileged layers? Japan may simply be the most advanced or the most desperate social laboratory, showing the rest of the world in advance what happens when an entire society begins to believe that loving is too risky, too expensive, too exhausting. And what if this is our future? What if,
I think it is.
30 years from now, Western men say the same thing?
It's not even 30 years from now, brother. I think it's happening now. Men are already saying this. Men, I mean, juice ain't worth the squeeze is like in every man's vocabulary now.
I don't want to date anymore. It's too dangerous, too expensive, too much trouble. And what if women say, I don't need a relationship. I make my own money. I live my own life. And what if both sides, exhausted, simply give up on each other? Maybe the real problem isn't about who is right or wrong, who is strong or weak. Maybe the problem is that we built societies so complex, so tense, and so full of expectations that loving someone has become almost an act of heroism, and nobody has the energy to be a hero anymore.
Yeah.
And that leaves the final...
Men are tired of being the heroes. I mean, we've been the heroes pretty much all of history. Men just kind of want to be able to live in peace now. That's where men are settling, is peace.
Question, the one nobody likes to ask. Is the West about to repeat the exact same fate? Or is there still time to realize that behind these silent wars between men and women, the real enemy was never each other, but the structure that turned everyone against everyone?
Oh, that was such a great video. I enjoyed it a lot, especially when they were talking about the spy family thing. Like, I can't believe that the government made a whole anime to try to get everybody to have more families. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad thing for the US. I think if we made movies and shows showing great families and how wonderful families can be, I think other people will start seeing it. It's just like most of our shows now are consisting of, you know, bumbling idiot fathers with women that just have to deal with them. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Really appreciate that, and catch you guys next time. Ciao.